Welcome to the Journey to Wholeness, a podcast by I See My Baby Incorporated. Here, we dive deep into powerful stories of those who have overcome life's greatest challenges, stories of resilience, healing, and renewed faith. I'm Alicia Hurt, your host, and each week we'll speak to individuals who have transformed struggles with infertility, battles with depression, and crisis of faith into profound growth and purpose. Hello, everyone. It's Alicia Hurt here, your servant leader. I am here for another episode of the Journey to Wholeness. Now, you know, all my guests are special. I have another special guest here, you guys. Her name is Emma Mitchell. She's all the way from Colorado. Hi, Emma.
Hi, Alicia.
How's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm pushing through. So let's jump right in. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you have arrived to your journey to wholeness.
Sure. Well, there's a lot to it, but the biggest part of my journey to wholeness is I suffered from depression and anxiety since I was, a teenager, as some teenagers do, but it's been an ongoing journey for me. And I was an event planner and a marketing person for many years until I decided to move from Michigan to Colorado. And I did that on my own without having a job, without hardly knowing anybody in Colorado. I just kind of picked up and moved. And it hit me in the face. All the things I was sort of running away from, they all came at me at once. So I call it kind of a breakdown moment. I had a breakup that wasn't even a long relationship, but it took me into this spiral. And from there, I kind of had to claw my way back out of that hole that I had dug for myself. And so by doing that, I really got into meditating. I really got into self-help stuff and learning a lot of different healing tools. And I even became an energy healer. I'm a Reiki Master. But what happened was, it's trying to do all this stuff for myself. I started a new business. I started hosting these social events for people to make new friends. So there were cooking classes and different things like that. But what I realized in that second journey was I really did not like myself. I felt like I was trying to have people have fun, but I was so not fun. I was boring. I was bored. I didn't like who I was or who I was pretending to be. So I took myself on a journey back to joy. And through that process, I really got intentional about how do I make really good friends? How do I be a better friend? How do I, create the life that I want and heal myself and really find out what I enjoy and what's fun for me. So that all came out through this journey. And of course, I'm still on a journey of joy because we never really stop our journeys of healing or finding more fun in life. So that's where I am now. And I help women now as a joy guide to find more fun in life, to bring more joy and happiness, to find healing, and also how to find better friendships and bring those relationships in. So it's been really an amazing journey, but there were a lot of hardships through it too.
Yeah. So you talked about the anxiety and depression and how, it happened early on, but then you went through relocation and I guess it popped back up. So kind of, help us dive a little deeper into that. And how did you know that these were the two things you were battling with?
Well, so when I want to say it was maybe 16 or 17, I was really depressed. Like I was having all these suicidal thoughts. I was having many panic attacks every single day. So my mom finally, the poor thing, she probably didn't know what to do, but she figured out here's a therapist I can take her to. So she took me to this therapist who was wonderful. And she diagnosed me with severe anxiety, severe depression. And, there's a lot of things going on at the same time of dating a guy that wasn't right for me. And, this internal struggle of who do I want to be? Where do I want to go to college? All that was going on at the same time. But they put me on depression medicine. They put me on anxiety medicine. I was on some other medicine. I was on sleeping pills. And it was just, I went from nothing to being on all these meds. So I was struggling with this for a long time, but for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years, I was on depression medicine. And I decided I didn't like who I was on that medicine either. I figured out I was like a zombie. So I'm sure you've heard some things about medicine and how it can make you one way or the other. Like I was on the ones that made me sleep all the time, and this one specifically was bad. So I weaned myself off, and I don't necessarily recommend the tactics that I took of just going cold turkey, but that was how I knew what I was feeling was that depression, the anxiety, the panic attacks, and it all kind of related. And so when I did move to Colorado, all of the stuff I was trying to push away because I was really good at pushing my emotions down, not dealing with them, not knowing how to. That was when everything kind of came up and hit me in the face again. So I found a new therapist and she helped me really work through a lot of the stuff. But it took a lot for me to say I need a therapist again.
Right. And you talked about that pushing. I call it stuffing too.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that because we're good. We're pretty good at it. What is that? What does that look like?
Well, that's a great question. And that's something that I work with my clients on because it is so powerful, especially in energy healing work. I notice when people are really stuffing emotions because they keep it, they hold it. It manifests on your body like physical sensations, physical ailments. But stuffing it down is, a great example. When I had moved to a different city right after college, I was living with this roommate that was really mean. She was not a nice person. But one week I decided I'm just gonna put a smile on my face every single day and I'm just gonna be the happiest person. For 3 or 4 days, I did that. And by the fourth day, I had the worst breakdown ever because I was just trying to be happy, happy, happy and not dealing with how I even felt with her and the reactions to how she was treating me. Like everything was okay. And I meet so many people like that on a daily basis, and they wonder why they're so unhappy. It's because we've got it. It is. It's like we're stuffing it down, and at some point, it's going to explode. Another example I can give, which I think is really helpful, when I went through this, I was in a 7 year relationship and I broke up with this guy. And I was same deal. I'm not gonna tell anybody. I'm just gonna be happy and everything's great and fine. And I didn't deal with my emotions. And then I was talking to one of my friends at work, and he said, "You remind me of my sister. She cries all the time too, because my eyes were always tearing up for the stupidest, dumbest, even the happiest things it was like my emotions were bubbling up and coming out of my eyes because they had nowhere else to go." So I don't know if that necessarily answers the question, but it's when we're dealing with something and we don't sit with it, we don't acknowledge it, and we just say, "Nope, I'm fine, I'm good, smiley face, let's move on." That's when we're stuffing emotions down.
That's right. That's right. Now, would you say that those tears are the pathway to what you call climbing out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, and even now I cry all the time. And it's such a freeing feeling to be able to say, yes, like let this emotion come up and rise up and come out. But it's not just crying. It's anger too. It's, punching it out on your pillow. It's screaming. There's so many different things that, running or those kinds of things help you to get out the anger. But so many people are stuffing anger down because that's one of the emotions that society doesn't think is okay to even express ever. And
Right.
so when we were in these pieces of societal turmoil, like, I'll give the pandemic for an example, people didn't know what to do with their anger, with their feelings, with whatever. So they were taking them out on retail people, they were taking them out on everybody else and screaming and yelling because they didn't know how to deal with that anger and how to process it. So crying's great. Angry's, getting out your anger. Those are like the big emotions, but there's a lot of other emotions we have to process too, like frustration or guilt or shame. And they all have a different spectrum of how you can heal from them.
Right. So how did you find during the moments of doubt and depression, anxiety, how did you find your strength?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of different things I was doing. Meditation was a really big one because it helped me to kind of make sense of how I was feeling internally. Also, working with a therapist was helpful. But, I always give props to Oprah because I listened to so much Oprah Super Soul during like the hardest times of my life because I felt like there was not only relatable stories and people who gave, helpful advice, but it gave me this sense of hope. So having that hope and being able to process what I was going through with a teacher like Oprah and the people she had on, that was really helpful. But a lot of the other work I've done for myself is journaling, just writing it out, not just writing out, here's what I did today, but writing out, here's how I feel, here's why I feel this way. And then there's other, energy techniques that I've used as well, just to help me release or get to the bottom of something. I don't know if you've heard of Tara Brach, but you have? Yeah.
Yeah.
So you may know about her rain technique, but that's such a great way to, recognizing, allowing, investigating, and nurturing, and that work is so helpful when you can understand what's happening and nurture yourself. So there's a lot of different techniques out there. I don't know if there's one that's your favorite that you tell your people about that listen to this.
Yep. So I have two different journals out right now. One has a QR code with it, and that's me walking with you. A lot of people think, oh, I don't want to tell. I don't, I'm going to go through this by myself. But that journal is unique in the sense of you can be in your bedroom by yourself, all the way in Australia, and I'm still with you. I'm still walking with you. And a part of that journal has gratitude. So every day you're talking about what you're grateful for, because we so often forget about the things that you don't have to have now. So that's one tool. The other tool is a journal that spun out of our recent retreat in Jamaica, and it's called She Deserves, and it's based on Proverbs 31. And so it gives you the practical application, the Bible verse, and also questions to ponder on to help you with whatever that day's topic is. So those are some of the tools, and I agree with you wholeheartedly pertaining to journaling. It is so freeing.
Yeah,
It's so freeing.
it is. I love that you have the different journals and the prompts because people don't know somehow. Sometimes they don't know how to even process or how to even ask the right questions to get to what is that emotion or how am I feeling. I don't know if you've ever heard of this concept of using a gratitude rock before you go to bed, holding this rock and saying, these are the best things that happened to me today. And thank you for this. It's a way to turn even the worst day of your life into, well, there's at least two things I can think of that are the best things, even if it was just sitting with my cat.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to change your perspective and show yourself that there is hope, that there are good things in the world. Yeah, there's so many tools out there.
I like that practice. I'm actually going to find a rock. We start our devotionals here in person, and that is a great icebreaker. Thank you,
Yeah,
Emma.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
So
Yeah.
you talked about Reiki or Reiki healing. I may be mispronouncing it, but I know what you're talking about. So I've had a session and it was so profound. I was living in Fort Washington, Maryland, and I was on the Nextdoor app. I don't know if you heard of that. And so one of the neighbors was like, hey, I just started practicing and I would love to have some clients. And I was like, I'll try it. My parents are from Trinidad and Tobago. So I have Caribbean roots, and I am a spiritual Baptist. And so I'm okay with, spiritual things, cleansing baths, crystals, things of that sort. Like I'm familiar with it. And so I said, oh, this is up my alley. And so I had a session with her, and I didn't tell her anything about me. She didn't know me. I didn't have much on Nextdoor app. And when we went through the session, oh my gosh, she read me so right. My energies she was just like, I just feel like in your womb area, I feel the fertility. Like I feel, and I'm sitting there crying because I'm like, this woman doesn't know my heart's desire is to have another child. And so please, like, explain for those that don't understand it, don't know what it is. Just go ahead, tell them.
Oh, I just love that, Alicia, that you've done that before and can recognize. I'll tell a little bit about Reiki, and then I want to tell my own story relating to that, actually. So, Reiki is an energy healing modality. So, people who have become Reiki certified or Reiki masters, we have the energy, it comes out of our hand. So, it's sourced from God, it's, sourced from the universe. It's good. It's, some people get really scared. When I do Reiki, I work with angels, I work with Jesus, I work with, those like those light spirits. So what it is it's, energy source flowing out of our hands, and we work through each chakra from the top of your head down through your feet. How energy flows is source or God's light comes down through our heads, down through our whole bodies, and exits out our hands and our feet. And when we have a blockage, say we're holding on to an emotion, it could be one emotion, it could be years of emotions. We hold it in different areas of our body. Different chakras relate to different pieces of us. So when you were talking about the womb, that is your sacral chakra, which is your creative center, your sexual center. So I'm guessing you were holding onto something there, and that was probably creating some stuckness. So when we're stuck, that energy cannot flow through us like a river. It gets stuck, it gets log jammed. We start feeling bad. That's where things manifest in our body, physical sensations, illnesses, things like that. So what Reiki does is we use our energy healing techniques to push out those stuck places, heal them, and help that energy flow out your hands and out your feet again. So that's Reiki. It's really just rebalancing your energy and helping you to feel better. I had a session actually last week because I do my own Reiki on myself all the time, but sometimes you just have to ask somebody else for help. So I called my Reiki teacher, and afterwards I was like, yes, I'm like a new person again. I felt so good. It's like this relaxation. I felt healed, and she noticed some things going on in my own body. But to give you my short story, I did Reiki on somebody a while ago, and I said, it looks like you have a black hole in your sacral chakra, which I said, I don't exactly know what that means, but it looks like that. And she said, I married a man who has kids. I can't have kids of my own because of my situation with him in these my stepchildren. He doesn't want more kids. So I think that's what that black hole is. Like my yearning to have my own children, and I can't have that. And it made me so sad. But I'm sure that you had a similar sort of feeling, or there was something that needed to be healed in your sacral chakra to help you to, eventually have kids. And I know you went through a long journey with that too, but it
Yes.
probably was like a catalyst for you to help with the healing.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So that like really is a good segue into the journey back to joy. Tell us about it.
Well, I mean, so you want to hear about the program, or you want to hear how I help people, or?
Both. Let's do it, Emma. We have time.
All right. Okay. So, one of the biggest things that I love to teach people is that joy comes from healing yourself, healing those wounds, healing those feelings of being judged, or, you're not good enough, or that people won't like your true personality. And I think that's one of the biggest problems is a lot of us are wearing a mask. I like that symbolism of the raccoon. He is wearing a mask on his face. That used to come to me all the time, that the raccoon symbolism, and I was doing it too, and that's why I was so unhappy. But when we're not being true to who ourselves are, our personalities, we're not bringing in the friendships we want, and we're not doing the things we actually want to do because we're scared to actually break out and do those things. Reiki was an example. I didn't tell people I did Reiki for like 3 years. I was scared to death of being judged. And when I finally did, I started getting clients. Like people were like, let me give you money. We want you to do Reiki. Oh my gosh, you're so amazing at this. So I was really able to tap into my skills and get better and better and better. But that's a big piece of me that I didn't want the world to know. So I was unhappy inside because I was trying to be somebody else. Another big piece of the journey of joy is trusting your inner guidance, like your intuition, your gut feelings. We tamp those down too. We say, logically, that thing doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. I'm feeling this way, but logically, I should be friends with this person. I should do this job. I should live in this place. I should. But when we really tap into what our body's telling us, the world opens up. Like we're able to find joy because we're moving towards the things that feel good and not staying in those things that feel really bad for us. And then the last topic I'll talk about, because there's so many, is what is actually fun. I say adult fun and kid fun. Adult fun, networking events, dinner parties, nights at the bar. And I'm just saying this because these aren't necessarily my fun, because they're not. But, kid fun, playing on a slide, doing kickball, running around your yard, playing with your dogs. There's so many different, there's such a distinction between adult fun and kid fun. But I'm willing to bet you, if you ask most people, they'll tell you the adult fun is their fun and there's no play in their life. And so that's like a huge thing for me is, what does your inner child want you to do? What is your inner child telling you? We used to love doing this. Let's get back to doing that again. I did this inner child meditation a while ago for myself, and excuse me, my inner child told me, I want you to play puzzle games at night and during the winter. And I said, that's weird. But I did. I bought some puzzle games and I had a great time. And then I was like bringing them on my trips. And, it was like such a thing I never would have thought of for myself. But it was like a fun play thing that really, really made me happy.
Yeah, yeah. So you talked a little bit about how you were showing up for others, but then not showing up for yourself. And you pretty much gave one of those examples with the play versus the adult activities, but kind of dive into that a little bit deeper to see if someone can resonate with that.
Sure. So, well, when it comes to friendships, for example, I can say I wasn't showing up for myself in that I love like collecting rocks and like crystals and some of this other stuff that's the energy healer side of me. And there was this person that when I was still working in an office, there's this person I worked with, and it was like her last day of work, and I got coffee with her. I didn't know her very well, even though we worked together. And we were talking, and I found out, oh, she likes human design. Oh, she likes crystals. Oh, she's into energy stuff. Great. Well, now she's moving across the country. This could have been an opportunity for us to have been friends a long time ago, but because both of us felt like it was weird to mention that stuff, we never met. So, or we never met in that way. And that probably happens on a daily basis for a lot of people. So I've gotten really intentional in my own life of telling people, I do these things. I'm a Reiki healer. I'm a clairvoyant. I'm this, I'm that. I enjoy this stuff so people can understand that that's who I am, and they can decide to opt out, or they can decide, hey, I want to get to know her a little bit better. But, that's part of it. But the fun, the play, I don't know. Like, I want you to give me an example of what's child fun for you. Because you have a kid, so you probably do it more often than some other people.
Jumping rope, even though I'm scared I'm going to break something. Yesterday, I actually did a yoni steaming session with my team here at the center. And my husband came by and I was like, ooh, the yoni steam called you, right? That's why you came by here. I said, I really want to do some cartwheels, but I feel like I'm going to break something and I'll be in the bed for the rest of the week, right? So I would say that would be a childlike thing, play
Yeah,
for me.
that's great. Oh man, I have a jump rope too. I have a trampoline that I
Okay.
was like jumping on my bed a lot. And my boyfriend was like, maybe not, maybe don't do it. So I was like, I'm gonna get a trampoline then. That seems a little bit more safe. And so I'll just get on there sometimes, because when you start working out, that's not fun anymore. It's a
Right.
workout, but I'll just get on the trampoline and jump for like 3 minutes. And then have a smile on my face and jump off. But yeah, that's a good one. I love to make snowmen too. Not like extreme ones, just you're in Georgia, so you may not get this, but
No.
when I'm hiking, like there'll be like snow, and so I'll make like a snowman that's this tall and just leave it for somebody else to find. But I love doing just like silly things like that. Somebody gave me the example. They went to the water park with their daughter a while ago, and they were saying, talk about, how can you not have fun at a water park? I mean, maybe if you think about all the pee in the water, but if you're not
Right.
thinking, if you're not thinking about that, and you're sliding, you're swimming, you're doing, the lazy river, all those things, like those are things that sometimes we just don't give ourselves permission to do those fun things because we think we're going to be judged.
That's
And that's
right.
the worst part of all of it. And art, I mean, art can be adult fun or child fun. If you use your fingers, that's child fun. I've talked to so many people who love art, and they say, I don't do art because I'm worried about getting judged. There's like a perfectionist piece of it. And I'm like, I just slap some paint on the page and it's for me. It's not for anybody else. But
Yeah,
we have to remember it's for us. It's not for anyone else. But it
that's
ends
right.
up being for everyone else because we're happier. And so they're happier being around us. But there's this like selfishness, I think, that comes into it that people perceive as selfish, but it's not. It's for us, it's for lightness, it's for happiness.
That's right. And I started thinking of some things as you were talking. I was like, ooh, blowing a really big bubble that like touches my nose or trying to cross my eyes. I remember doing that not too long ago with my kid. I even thought about like one of my kids was trying to flip her eyelid a little bit, and I was like, ugh, I'm just thinking about germs. So like the adult part of me, but as a kid, I definitely would have been like, look, so you like really got me going.
Oh, that makes me so happy. Yeah. Oh man, making a big bubble, that would be really fun. One of my friends last year, she was like making these glitter bombs with her stepson. And I was like, that's so weird, but I love how creative she is with him. They're always doing really fun kid things. Like she's
Yeah.
tapped into her kid joy?
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm gonna have to think of something clever with the kids over break. I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna be like, this is for Emma.
Yeah, please and tell me when you do. I'd love to hear
Yes.
it. Yeah.
So for the person that is, they're going through some challenges and it's similar to what we're discussing, or maybe a little different, what advice would you give them?
Well, I think, I was just listening to something the other day about when we're feeling bad, that's an indication of something's not right. Like something in our universe, in our situation, something's not right. So maybe trying to get to the bottom of that first. And I know it's harder for people to tap into their intuition or their inner guidance without a little bit of work. And I do have some videos and things on that on my website, but once you start really feeling like, what is making me feel bad? I'm in this situation today and I feel like crap, or I'm in this situation and I feel good. Starting to understand if it's like a constant thing of being in this situation or talking to this person, or if it's just is it a daily, every single day I feel bad? I think it's important to identify that stuff. And maybe sometimes you can't do that, so you have to go to a therapist or do some of these meditations or techniques we're talking about. But one of the first things, besides the feeling into it, is acknowledging acknowledging you feel this way.
Right.
Like you're in a season, you're in something, that saying it's always darkest before the dawn. There is light coming, but it may just not be there yet. So practicing some of this, like giving yourself grace. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to sit with that, journaling it, some of those tools we talked about, getting to the bottom of what's making you feel bad, and then working from there. Because what I found is when I tell the universe, when I declare, I need help with XYZ thing, I need help with my depression, I need help with this. If you pay attention, some help will come. whether it's seeing an ad for a therapist, whether it's a person talking to you and giving you their own experience,
Right.
something from God, something from the universe is going to come along and take your hand and take you to the next step. So it's just one step at a time.
I completely agree with you. My pastor tells us that time and time again, when we're in praise and worship, he's just like, push past yourself, push past, ask for what you want. If you can see what I can see, like God is here, he's ready. You just have to push past it. And it's so true because overcoming infertility for me started with me being vulnerable in the bathroom with an employee. Now I'm the manager. I'm the manager. But I was vulnerable in that moment, and then I got answers. I was like, hey, now it didn't solve it, but it jump started my journey towards overcoming infertility. So I agree with what you're saying. Like the universe, it aligns, God aligns. He's waiting. He's waiting for you to literally say what you need. Let it, say it,
I
put it out
agree.
there.
I agree. You know, the other thing that just came to me too when you're saying this is a vision for the future. You know, like what, and this is something I work with my clients on. The very first thing we do is what does it look like to have what you want?
Right.
What does that look like? What does that feel like? There was a spiritual economics class I went through a few years ago, and he was the leader of it was talking about this woman who really wanted to sell her house. She was desperate to sell her house. And he said, well, what does it look like to have the house of your dreams? What does that look like? And she said, well, I don't know. And he said, well, this is the problem. So as soon as she started visioning and seeing the house she wanted, she sold her house.
Yes.
Is immediate. And sometimes we're not going to get what we want, right? Like it might not be the thing we want, but it's on the path. We're on the path of what we are getting because that's what the universe has in store for us. There's always a plan, there's always a path, and obviously there's free will. But, I was talking to a friend about this yesterday of manifesting. Manifesting is such a trendy thing to talk about. But if we hold on to the thing we have to have it, that could be causing depression too, because we're not appreciating the stuff we have around us. We're
Right.
not appreciating the journey we're having, and we may not appreciate that even better thing that comes for us because we're
Yeah.
holding on so tight to this one dream we have, but it's not the dream for us in the grand scheme of things.
I cheese so hard when you said that because you already hit on envision. You already hit on manifest. I'm just waiting for the third one. So those are the three pillars of our organization is envisioning, manifesting. And then the last one, drum roll, please, is believing. You got to
Oh,
believe.
yeah.
So as you were going through it, I was like, go ahead, Emma. Go ahead, girl.
Well, I mean, I sort of talked about hope, but hope is believing, right? Believing that things are going to be okay, believing that things are going to work out. But, there's that talk about flow, right? Like the flow, if we're pushing against the flow, things are probably not going to work out. But if we allow ourselves to get swept up in it, what's the journey? What's the learning experience? What's the next thing? Letting it come to us. And I'm saying this, I'm not always so good at it, but we can talk about it. It's, letting the things come to us that are meant to come and knowing that it's all going to work out for the best possible, for our highest good, our highest purpose, right? So yeah, oh man, I'm such an advocate for belief. And people probably get annoyed with me because there's certain people I've cut out of my life because I'm like, oh no, they're not living in belief. They're living in victim. I can't be around them because they're going to drag me down. I have to be like,
Amen.
my head in the sand sometimes because like news, politics, all that stuff, it gets me so out
Yeah,
of that belief state. So I'm like, please don't talk to me about that. Put me in my little safety bubble
that's
and
right.
I'm just going to be here and hope and knowing that things are going to work out.
I so agree. They're like, you didn't see what happened with the murder and so and so. I don't want to know about any of that. Like, I am covered by like under the blood. I don't need that because then I'm looking around and I agree with you, Emma.
I'm sure you do because you seem like such a happy person. So of
Yeah,
course,
I don't want that.
you're not diving into those things that make us unhappy. That's
Yeah,
like a lot of people that I know that I meet or that I work with are like, oh, I'm so unhappy. I'm like watching the news all the time. And I said, well, that's your first problem. Stop doing that. Stop it. Stop.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's not good for our.
So, what's one message you would give to someone that's listening or watching to take away from your story?
Oh man. I think it's this concept of, it's always darkest before the dawn. And also, just to talk about Oprah again, when you know better, you do better. It's stop living in the past for your mistakes. I mean, we all hold on to stuff that we've done that we don't like, and we hopefully are healing from it. But stop looking at yourself like you're this terrible, awful person. How do you move forward? How do you be the best person in your life every single day? How do you show up for yourself? And showing up may just be saying one gratitude thing. Showing up may be taking a bath. Showing up may be finding some opportunity to play or do something fun. But whatever it is, knowing that things are going to be okay, even if you're in a really dark place, there is always hope if you take the time to, you know, figure out what's going on. And I'm not, and I've been friends with people who have taken their lives and things like that. And it's really hard because, I always like wish for them that they had the hope that things were going to be okay. Like maybe this was a bad day, but the next day would be okay again. But it's hard sometimes. And feel like I'm rambling now. But, just figuring out how you can be more connected to the world and connected to yourself, what brings you joy is the most important thing, I
Yeah.
think.
Amen. So, Emma, for those that are like, oh, I really resonate with her, how can I get in touch with her? What else does she do? Can you enlighten them, please?
Sure. So people can find me on my website, rosajoyco.com. I do have Facebook and Instagram too. So you can find me on there. It's all on my website. It's Rosa Joy Co. I host ladies hikes. I'm in Eagle County, Colorado, so I do host ladies hikes for people to make new friends. I also do some other events locally. I host some online like joy workshops and some other things like I've done creative art journaling, which helps you to, with prompts, gets to the bottom of how you're feeling, but you put it on paper and it's like a really good release and gets you moving forward in your life again. I'm a Reiki master. I do a lot of long distance Reiki. So you could be in Australia, like your example earlier, and we can do long distance Reiki that way. I've done it for somebody in the UK, like pretty frequently. And I also, I have a couple of programs. So one of them is called The Journey Back to Joy. And that is a guided program where people can go through these different processes like meditations, the visioning, creating a joy cheat sheet, and a lot of this other healing, but also having fun and being an intentional, that kind of work. You can work with me one-on-one. And then there's the Find Your Tribe program, which is another program that is one-on-one, and you learn how to be a better friend. You get intentional about where you're spending your time, how you're making friends. We do a lot of conversational role play, healing past friendship wounds and relationship wounds, and a lot of that stuff. So they're really good ways to find healing, but also my programs are almost always fun. They're not like sad, it's work, but I always want to have like play and fun and joy in everything that I do.
Well, I thank you so much, Emma. I probably need to get a session in with you since you do virtual. So we'll
Yeah.
be talking offline.
Okay.
But I thank you for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you and being able to be playful, like in this hectic schedule, the rat race. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you,
And
Alicia.
you guys, please reach out to Emma if you need any of the supports that she provides. And stay tuned for another episode of The Journey to Wholeness. Bye.
Bye.